Hello everyone, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Elias English World. I am Mohammad Abubakar Siddiq, IELTS trainer working at Elias English World. So it will be consecutive video lessons on different topics of IELTS. But first, we'll start on reading module. And reading module will solve true, false, and not given questions first. To solve this sort of questions, you need to consider a few things first. You need to understand the meaning of the passage, you need to understand the synonyms words of the passage, and you need to find specific clues for the passage to solve the problem. Remember, the questions in true, false, not given, the answers will appear sequentially. So you don't need to jump up and down and jumbled order all the time to the passages to find your answers. Okay, we'll go through the specific details of how to solve true, false, and not given questions. And today we'll solve from IELTS 15, Cambridge book IELTS 15 and test 3, Henry Moore. Okay, so here is our passage, Henry Moore. And the first technique I'm going to share with you is how to approach true, false, and not given questions. First, you need to read the questions, not read the passages. Okay, so reading the passage will take a lot of time and you need to go through the passages multiple times. It will be a waste of your time. So first, you need to read the questions, find clues, and then search for those clues in the passages. Remember, clues might appear in random order, but first we need to find out any nouns that are in the question. And there are lots of synonyms are used in reading tests. Also, there are paraphrased words all the time. So you need to focus on that as well. So let's focus on the first questions. So now let's focus on the first question of true, false, not given in test 3. On leaving school, Moore did what his father wanted him to do. In this question, what is the noun? The noun is Moore. So let's find out Moore in the passage. And remember the technique. The answers will always appear sequentially. So you don't need to jump up and down all the time. So let's go back to the passage. Our question was, Moore did what his father wanted him to do. Let's start from the beginning. Henry Moore was born in Castleford, a small town near Leeds in the north of England. He was the 7th child of Raymond Moore and his wife Mary Baker. He studied at Castleford Grammar School from 1909 to 1915, where his early interest in art was encouraged by his teacher Alice Gostick. After leaving school, Moore hoped to become a sculptor, but instead he complied with his father's wish that he train as a school teacher. He had abandoned his training in 1917 when he was sent to France to fight in the First World War. If you look carefully, we got our first clue. Moore and his father. From here, after leaving school, Moore hoped to become a sculptor. It was his original wish, but instead he complied with his father's wish that he train as a school teacher. So Moore initially wanted to be a sculptor, but he complied means he agreed with his father's decision to be as a school teacher. So let's go back to the question and let's see if the question agrees with the information given on the passage. So first question, on leaving school, Moore did what his father wanted him to do. So it is true because the information is agreeing with the question. So true, when the question is agreeing with the information given in the passage, we'll mark it as true. So the first question's answer would be true. Now let's move on to the next question. Moore began studying sculpture in his first term at Leeds School of Art. In this question, what's our noun? Leeds School of Art is a very good clue, and also we have mentioned about Moore. So now let's go back to the passage and remember what I said earlier, that the answers always appear sequentially. So we got our first answer from passage 1, the first part. Now we should get our second answer from this passage. So now let's go back to passage and read it. After the war, Moore enrolled at the Leeds School of Art. We got our first clue, Leeds School of Art, where he studied for 2 years. In his first year, he spent most of his time drawing. Although he wanted to study sculpture, no teacher was appointed until his second year. Okay. At the end of that year, he passed the sculpture examination and was awarded a scholarship to the Royal College of Art in London. In September 1921, he moved to London and began 3 years of advanced study in sculpture. So the question is about Moore began studying sculpture in his first term at the Leeds School of Art, which is contradicting with our information given in the passage, where the passage says in first year he spent most of his time drawing. So he didn't study sculpture in his first year. So the information in the passage contradicts the information in the question. So it will be false. So next question. Question number 3. When Moore started at the Royal College of Art, its reputation for teaching sculpture was excellent. So, like previous questions, we will find nouns, Royal College of Art and Moore, and its reputation for being teaching sculpture was excellent. Now let's go back to the passage. Let's read aloud the third passage. Alongside the instruction he received at the Royal College, Moore visited many of the London museums, particularly the British Museum, which had a wide-ranging collection of ancient sculpture. During these visits, he discovered the power and beauty of ancient Egyptian and African sculpture. As he became increasingly interested in these primitive forms of art, he turned away from European sculpture traditions. So the question is about when Moore started at the Royal College of Arts, its reputation for teaching sculpture was excellent. So we have Royal College of Art, but there is no such mention about it being famous for its sculpture techniques. So the information is not sufficient enough to come to any logical conclusion. So in that case, we will always use not given. It will be our answer for section 3 or question 3. So not given is when you don't have enough information to come to a logical conclusion, right? So in this question, we have mention of Royal College of Art, but there is no such mention of its reputation for teaching sculpture. And there is no such mention about it being excellent or whatever it is. There is mention about Royal College of Art, but we don't have enough information that whether it was excellent or whether it was bad. So I think in this type of situation, you use always not given as your answer. Okay, now moving on to the next question. Like I said, the answers will always appear sequentially in true, false, not given type of questions. So question number 4. Moore became aware of ancient sculpture as a result of visiting London museums. Like I said previously, we need to find the nouns here. So the noun here is Moore and London museums. So now let's go back to the passage and read aloud the next section of the passage. After graduating, Moore spent first 6 months of 1925 traveling in France. When he visited the Trocadero Museum in Paris, he was impressed by a cast of Mayan sculpture of the rain spirit. It was a male reclining figure with his knees drawn up together and its head at a right angle to its body. Moore became fascinated with this stone sculpture, which he thought had a power of an originality that no other stone sculpture possessed. He himself started carving a variety of subjects in stone, including depictions of reclining women, mother and child groups, and masks. This segment, alongside the instruction he received at the Royal College, Moore visited many of the London museums, particularly the British Museum, which is our clue given in the question, London Museum, which had a wide-ranging collection of ancient sculpture. During these visits, he discovered the power and beauty of ancient Egyptian and African sculpture. As he became increasingly interested in these primitive forms of art, he turned away from European sculptural traditions. So it implies that Moore became aware of ancient sculpture as a result of visiting London museums, which is Royal College, and it is also in London Museum. So this information agrees with the information or the question in here. So I think it's true because it agrees with all the parts of the question. So now let's move on to the next question. The Trocadero Museum's Mayan sculpture attracted a lot of public interest. So we need to find Trocadero Museum in the passage and Mayan sculpture as well. So let's read after the third passage, I guess. Yes. After graduating, Moore spent the first 6 months of 1925 traveling in France. When he visited the Trocadero Museum, we got our clue. In Paris, he was impressed by a cast of Mayan sculpture of the rain spirit. It was a male reclining figure with its knees drawn up together and its head at a right angle to its body. Moore became fascinated with this stone sculpture, which he thought had a power and originality that no other stone sculpture possessed. He himself started carving a variety of subjects in stone, including depictions of reclining women, mother and child groups, and masks. So the question is about the Trocadero Museum's Mayan sculpture attracted a lot of public interest. So we got the mention about Trocadero Museum and the contents that are there, and he was impressed by it, but there's no such mention that it gathered a lot of public interest. So the information in the passage is contradicting with the information is not given actually in the passage. The question, whatever the question says it gathered a lot of public interest, which have no such mention in the passage. So I think it's not given because we don't have enough information to come to a logical conclusion. Now, moving on to the next question. Moore thought the Mayan sculpture was similar in certain respects to other stone sculptures. So, what would be our clue here? Mayan sculpture. Okay, so now let's go back to the passage again and find the clue. Moore's exceptional talent soon gained recognition, and in 1926 he started work as a sculpture instructor at the Royal College. In 1933 he became a member of a group of young artists called Unit 1. The aim of the group was to convince the English public of the merits of the emerging international movement in modern art and architecture. But we need to move on to the previous text because we didn't find any clue regarding to the question. So let's read again the previous passage. After graduating, Moore spent the first 6 months of 1925 traveling in France. When he visited the Trocadero Museum in Paris, he was impressed by a cast of Mayan sculpture of the Rain Spirit. It was a male reclining figure with its knees drawn up together and its head at a right angle to its body. Moore became fascinated with this stone sculpture, which he thought had a power and originality. So, originality. And let's go back to the question again. Moore thought the Mayan sculpture was similar in certain respects to other stone sculptures. So, similarity and originality, these are contradicting words because similar means that there are other copies of it and original means there is no other copies of it, so it's unique. So this question contradicts with the information that is given in the passage. So when the question contradicts with the information in the passage, the answer will be false. In that case, Moore thought the Mayan sculpture was similar in certain respects to other stone sculptures. This is contradicting with the information given in the passage, so that's why the answer for number 6 question would be false. Now moving on to the final question. The artists who belong to Unit 1 wanted to make modern art and architecture more popular. So we read about Unit 1. Now let's go back to passage. Moore's exceptional talent soon gained recognition, and in 1926 he started work as a sculpture instructor at the Royal College. In 1933, he became a member of a group of young artists called Unit 1. We got the clue, Unit 1. Now, the aim of the group was to convince the English public of the merits of the emerging international movement in modern art and architecture. Now, let's move on to the question. What the question says, the artists who belong to Unit 1 wanted to make modern art and architecture more popular. So there is no such mention of being popular of the modern art. Rather than their aim was to convince the English public of the merits of the emerging international movement in modern art and architecture. So their aim was not to make modern art and architecture more popular. Rather than their aim was to convince the English public about the merits of emerging international movement in modern art and architecture. So there is no such mention about being popular. Rather than there's mention about bringing more interest in art in general. So we don't have particular information about that one. So the answer of number question 7 would be not given. So this is how you solve true, false, and not given. To summarize, when an answer would be true? The answer would be true in the case where the question and the information in the passage agrees with one another. Then the question's answer would be true. When answer would be false? When the question contradicts the information in the passage, then it would be false. And when the answer would be not given, where the information is not enough to deduce to a conclusion. So for the last question, we didn't have enough clue, we didn't have enough information about being so popular, so the last question would be not given. So these are the questions we have solved today. And another thing I'd like to remind you, true, false, and not given have another version which is known as yes, no, not given. So yes, no, not given and true, false, not given, basically they're the same thing. You need to use the same techniques as you did in true, false, and not given. And the answer would be, instead of true, false, and not given, the answer would be yes, no, and not given. So when you solve true, false, and not given, just don't try to understand the word meaning. You have to understand the meaning of the sentence as well. Because in reading section 1 or reading passage 1, the question would be easier. The same question, true false not given, if it comes in section 3 or reading passage 3, it would be significantly harder than section 1. So in those instances, you need to understand the meaning of the passage rather than meaning of the words, similar words or synonyms or paraphrased words. So if you solve this type of questions in this strategy, using this strategy, I think your technique will be much better to solve this type of question in the future. So true, false and not given is done. Inshallah, we'll cover few more topics in the upcoming video lessons. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. If you have any comments or if you have any suggestions, please write down in the comment section. We'll have further lessons in the future. Thank you for joining us, and I wish you all the best.